Good afternoon. It is Monday, May 12th, 2025. It is about 4:33 p.m. and we're going to start our HR Business Services Committee meeting. Our first report is the Human Services report. So I'll give a few updates there. April was busy with posting of summer school paraprofessional positions, 47 of them, and for the start of the posting process for next school year as well. To date, we have posted for 40 paraprofessional positions, 3 food service positions, and 102 certified positions. In April, HR staff, along with the finance team, have been meeting with principals to review current year staffing, UFARS coding, and having discussions about next year's staffing review processes. Just a reminder, UFARS is our budget codes. The HR team attended several career fairs, focusing on all district positions. In addition, HR has worked closely with the transportation leaders to create a bus driver training hiring process, which is going to start July 1. We're excited to partner with them to bring this information to the general public in order to generate interest in school bus driver positions. And as we know, that's been kind of an ongoing challenge, so that's great to hear. And then I know all of us board members read through, but there's a lot of different things that our HR department is working on there. And then at the bottom, there's some upcoming changes and improvements to the department. And I wanted to highlight this one because later we're going to take a look at the job description that they mentioned. But in April, our benefits coordinator, Kinsey Klasnich, started meeting with principals and other department leaders to discuss onboarding and retention processes. This is a minor shift in how we define benefit duties and follows our recruitment and retention plan that I know we've been working on a lot. As a result, in this shift, we're revising a job description to include these and other employee engagement pieces. So we'll take a look at that in a little bit. But that is our HR report. Any questions or comments, Superintendent?
Just an unrelated comment, but just for the audience, if there is an audience watching our committee meeting, Anthony Bonds is on speakerphone because he is out today, but normally we have somebody participate virtually through the meeting, but just so if you hear his voice come on through the owl, but you don't see him there, that's what's happening.
Which, can I throw out the reminder, if he talks, that you should turn your microphone on for the recording? Thank you. Great. Thank you. We're trying to do really good at using our microphones so that people who watch our meetings later can hear everything we're going over. So if there's no other questions or comments about the HR report, I'm going to move on to our business services, starting with our enrollment report. One, I wanted to highlight page 5, which is the second enrollment page. If you look to the right, there's some new information that's being included in our report now. So there's a comparison of last year, and the far right column is last year in May. And then the column in green just to the left of that is where we are at currently for May. So that's kind of a new addition to our report I wanted to highlight. And then if you turn 2 more pages into page 7, where it says ISD 709 active enrollment by month, I just think this is a really great way to illustrate kind of where we are at with our enrollment. Our enrollments have been trending up. So if you look at this graph, 2004-2025 school year is in yellow, and then previous years are in different colors, but you'll see that the yellow is trending up over year. Any questions or comments on our enrollment report? Okay, if not, we'll move on to our child nutrition department report. We celebrated School Lunch Heroes Day on May 2nd. With our 83 employees. I saw a really nice post that Adele did out on social media, so that was nice to kind of celebrate our child nutrition staff. We also began serving hot lunches again at the Area Learning Center on May 5th, which was really great to hear. And then for staffing report, we're working on staffing for summer meal programs and anticipate enough employees looking to work for the summer just to cover those openings, which is great to hear. we want to be able to get those meals out to our students in the community. Any questions on our child nutrition report? Okay, then we'll move on to our facilities department report. So we're working on getting all the bids completed and reviewed for all of the district's summer projects. And I remember we talked about this last month as well. Scope of work and working document should be in place for the start of the summer work schedule. And as we know, there's a lot going on. There's been 221 work orders completed, and there's 283 work orders in the queue. And then below that, you'll see a whole long list of things that our facilities department is working on. It looks like they're very busy, and we really appreciate all that they're doing for our buildings. And then at the bottom, there was in the staffing report, I see that there was a retirement. So we wish Mark, who retired from the utilities department, the best of luck in his future endeavors. This month, we also have kind of a facilities operation report. The district's facilities building operations team is composed of many valuable employees, and I would especially like to recognize the efforts of the East High School building operations staff. Notably, they have only been fully staffed for 1 week this whole academic year. Nevertheless, they consistently demonstrate their commitment by ensuring the building is clean and well-maintained to support all activities. And I wish to express my sincere appreciation to the entire staff at East, including Barb Chop, Jack Davis, Granger Shear, Ryan Zentgraf, Ryan Haryu, Sierra, and Nicholas Murray. So having 2 kids at East, I have seen that the building has still been maintained very clean and welcoming for our students. So really appreciate their hard work. That's hard being understaffed. Any questions about our facilities report? Okay, if not, we're going to move on to the health and safety report. Some things that we're working on now. Safe at Work anonymous survey summary is being put together. The Denfeld automotive lift inspections have started and then they finished. There's an asbestos identification survey at the First Street building, which was completed, and now the cleanup is in progress. And then the respirable dust testing was completed in the East High School woodshop now, and we heard about that last month, and now they're working with the teacher and insurance company safety representative to find possible solutions. Any questions on our safety report? Okay. If not, we'll move on to our technology department report. We're preparing for the transition from the end of one school year to the start of another one. Summer projects will be on their way starting June 9th. We had a successful table talk meeting on cybersecurity. It was important to connect different departments to activate robust collaboration. Obviously, that's an ongoing topic that we need to be staying on top of, and is also pretty costly and important to protect our students and staff. Any comments on that?
No, I would just say thanks to the team that put that together, and it was really worthwhile. I think it shows us how complex those and challenging those situations can be, and that we have to be prepared to be very flexible and very thoughtful in the way that we'd move forward in such an incident. So I think tabletop activities like this and for many other types of crisis situations are very important for us, and we need to do more of them.
Great, thank you. I also just wanted to point out, kind of middle in the page there, upcoming changes, improvements to the department. We purchased a few more Chromebooks to supplement the inventory for next year. After next year, decisions will be needed for future one-to-one Chromebook usage. So just wanted to point that out. You know, we're in a situation right now where we're doing budget cuts. We had 2 failed technology referendums, and we still need these devices to make sure that our students are ready for their futures wherever they are, not just college, but the trades, jobs. Every job uses a computer, whether you're working in fast food or whatnot. So we're still going to need to find a way to make sure that our students have these resources. I know for my kids, the Chromebooks have been a really great way for them to kind of participate in active learning by rewatching different lesson plans that the teachers may have taught or emailing their teacher. So just wanted to say that, and I'll get off my soapbox. Probably preaching to the choir here.
One thing I just wanted to mention is that we do have our technology director position out on our website now for applications. We'll be accepting applications for 3 weeks.
Great, thank you.
And when we think about the different positions that we have, the technology director and the DWIA position that supported it have been rolled into one, or I'm sorry, the technology manager and DWIA were rolled into one. So that was a cost savings. So when we talk about there's a little bit of a DWIA expenditure here with the MTSS coordinators, it more than makes up for it. So the grand total is still a reduction of $40,000 roughly in expenditures.
Great, thank you. Seeing no other questions or comments, I'm going to move on to our transportation report. As the school year comes to a close, we're working on summer routes and also routes for the next school year, from planning through the execution, all while still making sure that the buses keep moving students to and from school right now. Trying to see what else we want to highlight there. I think Stats and Spotlight is pretty cool. We're currently transporting more than 6,500 students to and from school, work experience, and career in tech ed. So we really appreciate our school bus drivers and our whole transportation department. Lots to coordinate there. Any questions or comments? Member Williams?
Sorry. What are summer routes? Like, who is going where in the summer?
That would be our summer school.
Oh, just summer school?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, seeing no other questions or comments, I'm going to move on to a recommended resolution. So we have acceptance of donations to Duluth Public Schools and the acceptance of grant awards to Duluth Public Schools. You'll see on page 17 there, we have a lot of donations to Duluth Public Schools. We really appreciate everyone's partnership in our community to support our students. You can flip through. I took a look. It's nice to see just the community collaboration to support our youth. And then on page 22, you'll see our resolution for grant awards to Duluth Public Schools. There's one, Project Joy. Samantha Webster wrote that grant, $1,000 for Duluth Preschool. And then we had Angie Lucier, who's an Ordini's special education teacher, wrote a grant for a field trip for special education students to attend a Duluth Huskies baseball game. Great to see. Then I will move on to our HR staffing. On the consent agenda, we have our HR staffing report, and then we have our job descriptions. So we have 2 different job descriptions, and I'm going to let some staff talk about those job descriptions, but we have the employee benefits and engagement coordinator, and then we also have another one, the MTSS academics and curriculum and instruction coordinator position.
Thank you. I will speak about, start with the employee benefits and engagement coordinator. So you can't tell this by your attachment, and I can send the revision comment that shows the red line, but it is a revision from our employee benefits coordinator position, where we're just adding the component of engagement. And as we've talked, as we've gone through the recruitment and retention plan, a big piece that we recognize is missing and needs to be enhanced here is that onboarding and kind of how do we engage our employees once they become employees. After the orientation first day and kind of into those first 3 to 6 months and beyond. So seeing that component is really part of an employee benefit, we found there was a nice way to link it into this this already existing job, so we didn't have to add staff, and really just kind of shift a little bit so that a good portion of this job is not only looking at the benefits like health insurance, life insurance, all those things that we provide to an employee, but also that broader component of the benefit of being an employee here and what does that look like from how we bring them into the organization, how that we connect with them throughout the course of their employment here. So a fair amount of red lines when you, and I will send that a document. We can actually attach it to this, the board book as well. But really the benefits piece will still happen and they will do the high-level work. They will still meet with retirees and have the sessions that we've always provided with a little extra support from our benefits technician that does a lot of the day-to-day operational stuff, so that'll free up some time for our benefits coordinator to be able to go out and make sure that we're doing this engagement and having something systematic across the organization.
Perfect, thank you. And then Brenda, did you want to speak to the other job?
Sure, I can do that. We have secured a grant from MDE, a Minnesota MTSS grant, and with that grant comes some additional responsibilities of ensuring that someone or maybe a couple people focus at least 40% of their job on a multi-tiered system of supporting students. And there's lots of things to that, components to that, what they call the MTSS structure. So we propose that we have some positions right now in the curriculum and instruction area. Two of these positions, both of them focus over K-12. It's super difficult to focus from kindergarten to high school graduation credentials. Like, it's very hard to do that. So we would like one MTSS coordinator to focus down on elementary, K-5, and it would include all aspects of instruction, curriculum, cycle, supporting teachers in the classroom. We have all this letters training. How is that, looking in the classroom and that fidelity piece? How consistent are we across the elementary schools? There's a lot of components right now that we need a focus on the elementary schools, and I need help doing it because I can't be in all 9 schools at the same time. And so that is going to be super helpful. And then the secondary person will focus down on 6th through 12th in all the various realms of instruction, curriculum, and then that multi-tiered system of supporting students. So those are the 2 positions, and that's the why behind it. We have this grant, and we need to take these 2 and pull them apart and really focus down on the different leveled, grade spans, which will be very helpful.
Great, thank you, Superintendent Magus.
And I didn't mean to dramatically clear my throat. No, it was actually a necessity. Anyway, I would just want, sorry. I just wanted to say that when you look at the net difference, because I think some people are looking at it from a enhancement position, because there are 2 positions going from TOSA, teacher on special assignment, to DWIA, which is slightly more expensive. But really what we're doing is we're switching one of the current DWIA positions to a TOSA, so it's really only a net difference of 1 position switching from TOSA to DWIA, and we have the grant funding to do so. And additionally, if we wanted to look at departmentally, where are the transitions, there was the collapsing of 2 positions into 1 within technology, which is part of Assistant Superintendent Bonds' oversight. So overall, there's at least a $40,000 savings with those positions together, even though we're enhancing some. So I just wanted people to know that it was done with a lens of fiscal responsibility as well, before people are feeling like it's, district office bloat or something like that.
Great, thank you. And thank you for being here, Director Sparks, to explain that. And I remember you mentioning this, I think at our last Committee of the Whole. We talked a lot about this, maybe not the job description, but the grant.
Yep, we did.
Yep.
We had a whole presentation
Yep.
for you on that, yep.
Yep, perfect. Thank you. Member Banks?
Thank you. I have a quick question related to the benefits coordinator position. is that a new position or a promotional or?
It's a revision of a job that currently exists, and the employee that is currently in that position will just assume the new duties with, then there's no additional pay. It's just a shift in some of the work.
All right, thank you.
All right, seeing no other questions or comments, we'll move on to the financial report. There's not a whole lot to point out here. It's pretty standard. I would say, though, that at the year end, this will be our last kind of budget summary. There won't be a budget summary in June because we'll be crunching numbers and all of those things. I don't know if you want to speak to that anymore, but.
Generally, we don't provide a budget summary in June because we're starting to prep for the audit, and there's a lot of invoices that are being paid and et cetera in June. The next budget summary we will put together would be in August, and that will be the FY26. And then, of course, all the end results of FY25 will be presented in audit form.
Great, thank you. I guess one thing I would point out is just in line, Fund 3, the transportation, we're sitting at 117%, but it's not uncommon for us to go over on that. It's just really hard to predict. Whenever we have staffing issues internally and we have to hire out to Voyager even more, those prices go up along with the gas and everything like that. So not a huge concern, but I thought I'd point it out since it is at 117. Seeing no questions, we will move on. So we have on the next page fundraisers. So you'll see a whole slew, or at least a handful of fundraisers. Several for East, the District Service Center, and then Ordine East. And then on page 35, we move into bids, RFPs, and quotes. There is bid number 1339 for the East High School parking lot improvements. So one is from Design Tree. So they accepted the project, basically, is what that's saying, and they'll help improve our East parking lot. And then RFP 339, commissioning contractor for Duluth Education Center. So that's for some work, obviously, on the DNT building. Member Banks.
I just have a quick question related to fundraisers, and I'm seeing here there's a lot of fundraisers.
Oh, fundraisers?
Yeah,
Okay.
fundraisers, if we can go back
Okay.
to that a little bit.
Sure.
I know the eastern schools and the western schools do fundraisers. Can somebody talk a bit about comparatively how many fundraisers are done out at our eastern schools and our western schools? I see, on here I just see East and Ordine East, so I just need clarification on that.
Good question. Thanks, Member Banks.
There is, we don't really track that, but it just so happens this month that we received fundraiser requests from East or Dean East. It's just to happenstance. I mean, next month it could be all Denfeld. So it's, it really is what the employees are working on, what our coaches, advisors, and whatnot. So, yeah.
I think that that is an important consideration, though, because having worked in other school districts where I was working in an area of town that was more impoverished than the other part of town, it was easier for the other parts of town to do fundraisers that benefited the kids. And so I think from a economic standpoint, we need to take a look at that. And so sometimes that's why we don't allow for, just as an example, we're very careful when we do things like fundraise for a playground, because you might end up with a massive playground at the quote-unquote rich kids school and then nothing at the other school. So I think it's important when we look at our expenditures and when we look at fundraisers to think about equity within the district.
And for me personally, it was just an observation, and so I just needed that clarification. Thank you.
No, I really appreciate the conversation and dialogue, so thanks for asking that question, Member Banks, and thanks for the information, Superintendent Magus. Any other questions?
I have a question, I should know, but the improvement of the east parking lot, is that, is it just physical improvement of the surfaces that are already there, or is it looking at a redesign?
It's physical improvement of the surfaces that are already there, in addition to the roadway that goes between the stadium and, so that was all part of the bid scope to be able to improve those spaces.
So I mentioned the first two, and then there's also a significant, very lengthy, what would you call it? It's not a bid, is it? It's a contract for Henning Professional Services having to do with the right-of-way on London Road. And it goes for many, many pages, and you can look through it. There's maps, there's different things. I'm thinking maybe for the roundabout that's going in there. Does anyone?
I believe that's what it's for.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay,
they
great.
needed a piece of it.
Okay, great, thank you. So, yeah, that's definitely a collaborative community project to kind of get that built, but that'll be really good for the safety of our students, I think, when they're pulling out on London Road. So that's nice to see. And then on page 109, I would move on to our expenditure contracts. So that's where those start, so you'll see some of those on there. And then on page, let's see, where are we at? Oh, here's our expenditure contract, sorry. Here's the overview here. We have several. I see some contracts for technology, families in transition, the American Indian Education Program, Denfeld High School, Ordine, Congdon, and Stowe. And then for our no-cost contracts, those are start on page 161. We see 3 for Career and Tech Ed and 3 for TLE. We do not have any revenue contracts, and then towards the very end on the last page of our packet, on page 193, that's where you'll see our grant applications. So grants that are just recently being applied for. So there's one for Project Joy for preschool. Okay, a couple that we just mentioned before on the other grants. And then one for the Northland Foundation to support and enhance our home visiting strategy in ECFE. Any questions, comments, or follow-up? If not, that ends our HR business meeting for this month.